One conversation can be worth more than 100 online applications. Only about 7% of applicants are referrals, but they account for up to 40% of all hires. That means you could spend weeks on job boards or have a single conversation that changes everything. Welcome to the Conscious Professional Podcast. I'm Renee Fry, founder of Talent Q, career matchmaker, recruiting expert, and your guide to building a career and life you truly love. In a world where more professionals than ever are searching for meaning, I'm here to help you ditch the fluff, own your value, and step into the career you were made for. Whether you're new here or a long-time listener, I'm so glad you're here. Let's get intentional, get inspired, and let's grow together. If you've ever made a career decision for someone you love, maybe you moved across the country for a partner's job, stepped away to raise a family, or shifted into a role where it wasn't something you really wanted because life demanded it, you might know this feeling, that little voice that says, "Did I just set myself back years?" If you've thought that, you're not the only one and you're not off track. In fact, what feels like a detour may be your biggest career advantage. Years ago, I worked with a client named Maria. She had built a strong career in supply chain management in Chicago. But when her husband got his dream job offer in Denver, they decided to move for his career. And Maria was nervous. She told me, "I feel like I'm throwing away 10 years of momentum. No one in Denver even knows me." But here's what happened. Within 6 months, she built a new network from scratch. She joined a local manufacturing association, met a plant manager at one of their events, and that led into an introduction to the VP of operations at a fast-growing consumer goods company. She landed a supply chain leadership role that paid more than her salary in Chicago, came with a bigger team, and gave her more influence in the company than ever before. And what she thought was a setback became a springboard, all because she showed up curious, open, and willing to connect with new people. And here's the thing, Maria's story isn't unusual. Career paths that zig and zag are becoming the norm, and the data proves it. Let's put the job market in perspective. In the United States, the average worker stays at their job just under 4 years. 22% of workers have been in their job for less than 1 year, and another 26% have stayed for 10 years or more. But the typical experience? Movement, shifts, and change. And here's something else. In the private sector, the median tenure is only 3.5 years, which means if you've had several career changes, you're not an outlier. You're exactly where the labor market is. But I know that doesn't always take away the worry. Maybe you've invested in years of education and effort building one kind of career. Then life happened, and suddenly your title doesn't match what you built your identity around. And you might be thinking, how do I explain this? Will someone take me seriously again? Here's the truth. Careers today are not rigid ladders. They're mosaics. And employers don't just want people who have done the same thing for 20 years. They want adaptability, problem solving, and resilience, the exact skills you've built while navigating change. And I'll share an example with you. I once worked with a client named Jason. Over the course of 10 years, he worked in 3 completely different industries: retail operations, logistics, and then healthcare supply chain. And on paper, it looked like a patchwork. He worried employers would see him as scattered or unfocused. But when we dug deeper, a pattern popped out. In every single role, Jason had been the person who fixed broken systems. In retail, he reduced shrink by redesigning inventory processes. In logistics, he cut delivery times by streamlining route planning. In healthcare, he improved patient care delivery by revamping supply ordering. And when we reframed his story around being a process optimizer who could step into any environment and deliver results, suddenly his so-called patchwork background became a huge selling point. And that's exactly what I mean by career mosaic. Each tile adds something unique. And when you stand back, you see the full valuable picture. So if you've ever felt like your career looks like it's all over the place, here's why step 1 is so important. Normalize career shifts. U.S. employers are prioritizing skills over traditional qualifications. In fact, 95% say they focus more on skills than degrees when hiring. And the World Economic Forum projects that by 2030, nearly 40% of core job skills will change. So if your path has been nonlinear, that's not a flaw. That's a sign you can adapt. Here's your first action step. Take a piece of paper and list 3 transferable skills you've used in every role that you've had. For example, maybe it's leading teams, negotiating contracts, or creating process improvement. These skills are your true career currency. Step 2, shift from applying to connecting. We all know the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And while I believe both, the data is clear. Referred candidates are 3 to 7 times more likely to be hired than people who apply cold. And here's the kicker. Only about 7% of applicants are referrals, but they account for up to 40% of hires. That means that one conversation can be worth more than 100 online applications. And I've seen this play out over and over again with my clients. One of my clients, Sean, had been applying online for months with no response. In our first coaching session, I told him, stop spending all your time on job boards and start having conversations instead. I gave him 2 questions to use. How did you come to be here? If you could do anything, what would it be? Sean decided to reach out to a former coworker he hadn't talked to in years. They had coffee. He asked those 2 questions, and by the end of the conversation, his friend said, my company's about to create a new role that's not even posted yet, and you'd be perfect for it. Yep, you guessed it. 2 weeks later, Sean was interviewing for that role, and a month later, he had a job offer in hand. That job never even made it to the job boards. That's the power of connection. One authentic conversation that can open doors that endless online applications never will. Your next action step this week, instead of spending all your time on job boards, carve out 1 hour for connection. Reach out to someone in your field or at a company you admire and ask the 2 simple questions. How did you come to be here? If you could do anything, what would it be? These questions open up stories, build rapport, and keep you top of mind when opportunities arise. Step 3, invest in skills employers are paying for right now. The fastest growing skill sets in the U.S. job market include tech adaptability, AI literacy, communication, leadership, and creative problem solving. These aren't just nice to haves, they're becoming the baseline. So pick one of these skills and build a 30, 60, 90-day plan around it. In the first 30 days, learn it, Take a course, read, shadow someone. By day 60, apply it to a small project. And by 90 days, create a simple case study you can talk about in interviews or post on LinkedIn. When you show evidence, not just claims, you stand out. Now, I want to address a common fear. But my resume shows gaps or pivots. Won't that hurt me? No, what hurts is not having a story. Employers don't mind change, they mind confusion. Here's how you frame it. Start with the skills you've consistently used. Share the results you've delivered in different contexts. End with why those skills make you a stronger fit for their role today. It's not about defending your path, it's about owning it. Now let's zoom out to the bigger trend. The American workforce is shifting faster than ever. Roles that didn't exist 5 years ago are now some of the most highest in demand. Employers are adapting to AI, hybrid work, and an economy where agility is king. That means if you've navigated a career change, you've already practiced the very skill set that will keep you relevant in the future: adaptability. So if you've been telling yourself, I'm off track, I want you to try this reframe. Your career is not a straight line. It's a portfolio, and every page, even the ones you didn't plan, counts. And let me share you a perfect example with one of my clients named Robert, who had spent over a decade in manufacturing operations. Then his company shut down. He took almost 2 years away from the workforce to care for his aging parents. And when he was ready to return, he was worried that that gap was going to overshadow everything else on his resume. He told me, they're just going to see 2 empty years and think I've been out of touch. But when we dug into it all, that wasn't true at all. During those 2 years, Robert had managed complex medical schedules, coordinated with multiple care providers, handled insurance negotiations, and overseen home modifications. All skills that directly tied to project management, vendor coordination, and budgeting. We reframed his story so the gap became an example of leadership under pressure. And when he interviewed, he didn't have to try to hide it. He said, here's how I use these 2 years to strengthen my ability to manage critical projects. That transparency, paired with results from his earlier roles, is what got him hired as a plant manager with a higher salary than the role he left. His gap didn't close doors. Owning it with confidence opened them. And you can do the same thing. Here's what I want you to start this week. Have one conversation using those 2 questions. The questions are, how did you come to be here? If you could do anything, what would it be? Update your profile to focus on skills and outcomes. Start a 30, 60, 90-day micro project to build out one in-demand skill. These aren't massive overhauls. They're consistent steps that compound over time. Your journey isn't behind. You're never starting over. You're moving forward with more tools, more resilience, and more perspective than you ever had before. Thanks for tuning into the Conscious Professional podcast. If you loved today's episode, hit that follow button so you never miss an insight that could change your career. And if you're ready to make your next move with clarity and confidence, head to talentq.net. I'll show you the exact strategies my clients use to land jobs they love faster. Until next time, keep showing up with intention and keep building a career and life you truly love. Until next time, keep showing up with intention, keep building a career and a life you truly love.